All right, guys, welcome to this week's episode of the Casual Nerds Podcast. My name's Ken. I've got with me tonight Matt, Lee, and Shaq. We're going to be taking you guys through a lot of topics tonight. Big focus will be on the new consoles launching this month, PS4 and Xbox One. We've got a lot to talk about there. We'll also get into some Magic, Hearthstone, and quite a bit of other stuff as well, just kind of everything that's going on right now in the nerd world, I guess you could say. But right now we're going to start out with talking about what we're playing right now, just giving you guys a taste of what's going on in the life of our casual nerds. So, Matt, what you got going
on? I've just been doing some GTA Online when I've got free time off of work. I've literally just now started up Mass Effect 1 because I've never played the full series. So you guys have been telling me to play the full series. I'm going to do it.
Very nice.
So I'm just kind of running around, getting used to the controls and whatnot while we do this. And been playing a bit of Hearthstone, watching more Hearthstone than I've been playing just because I'm not very good at it. So I feel the more I watch on streams, the better I get. And that's pretty much it. I've just been working a lot, not really playing much else other than Grand Theft Auto Online.
What do you think about online? I actually just finished GTA 5 last week, but I haven't really touched on the online aspect at all.
I mean, the online is hit or miss. If you just jump in by yourself, it's kind of not much to be had with it, unless you just kind of like killing people and being a jerk to, whoever.
Right.
But the real meat of the game is when you're playing with people from your friends list and you all get together in a crew. And you're doing missions and you're kind of taking over the city. It's not like playing exclusively with your friends, but having your friends in an open world match with other players and being able to group up against people.
Yeah.
And just kind of getting an idea of something to do and then executing that idea, whether it be robbing players or robbing stores or going to the Air Force base and getting some jets and shooting people down and stuff. So it's a lot more fun when you've got more people playing.
Right.
Just one or two people playing, there's really not much you can do other than missions. And at some points, in time, like at certain times of the day, there's not a lot of people running those missions, so you have to wait a while.
Oh, okay.
So you end up just kind of running top fun over and over and over with just you versus him. So
for sure.
But no, it's good. I've been saving up a whole lot of money doing missions and whatnot, and I finally was able to afford the most expensive apartment before they gave us the stimulus package. So when I get the first $250,000, I'll be able to buy cars and stuff with it.
Oh, badass! Oh, that's cool. Well, I guess I'll talk to you just because that was kind of my topic this time around too. GTA 5. I just finished up a couple days ago, so I really loved it. Like the actual core game I thought was awesome. Kind of wish I had more time to spend with it, but with new consoles coming out and everything, I'm probably not going to spend quite as much time as I thought I would. But it's definitely cool. I thought the three characters, Franklin and Michael and Trevor, were as good as any one character, from the previous game. So I thought they did a great job with that. I mean, I could have spent another. I would be totally fine if they wanted to do a spin-off of a game with each guy or something like that. That's how much I liked it. So, and then obviously we all know the detail they put into that game is just incredible. So, I mean, Los Santos is pretty freaking impressive. So even though the game was over, I kind of still had a lot of stuff on my bucket list I wanted to do. So, great game. Then besides that, I've just been playing a little bit of League in my spare time and getting ready to probably pick one or two little games to play here before my PS4 arrives in just over 2 weeks from now. So that's the plan for me. What you got going on, Shaq?
Not much. I actually just Java actually let me borrow his Hearthstone, so I've been playing a little bit of that. Really enjoying it. I've only been played for like an hour, and it's pretty awesome. Can't wait for that to finally release for everybody to play. I think it's going to be really good in the competitive scene too. I don't see why it wouldn't be, because it's straight PvP. If you're into Magic, it's better than the Magic Online game, that's for sure. So if you ever get a chance to play Hearthstone, I definitely recommend it. Other than that, finished GTA a while back. Really didn't get into the multiplayer as much as I wanted to, just because of all the bugs at the beginning. Kind of just
Right.
it was like meh, whatever. Other than that, just playing. I finished Pokemon, which was a pretty good game, and that was about it. I haven't really been doing anything else, to be completely honest.
So it's a good news, bad news scenario, but you want to share with the group what happened with your PC and all that?
Yeah, I think Lee put a spell on me when I started talking all this smack about consoles are the way to go just because it's cheaper, and my PC ended up Blizzconing on me. So I had to order a new PC just because I can't. Even though I'm not a big PC gamer, you have to have a PC to even do anything. It seems like in the world today. So yes, got a new PC. It's all pre-built and everything. I didn't build it myself. I told them what I wanted in it, and that was it. Ended up getting the Aurora Alienware PC. Yeah. Hopefully I'll have that next week, and I'll be able to record some videos for you guys and put it on YouTube.
Heck yeah, and play pretty much any game on God's green earth that you want to, up to and including like Star Citizen. And if you guys can't tell, I'm a little bit jelly.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Awesome.
Not you to be jealous, but to play any game.
Yeah, no, I'm in the same boat as you. We've been kind of talking about it a lot. It's just like I'm excited as the console launch is approaching, but at the same time, with the Steam announces that's come out and everything, PC is looking more and more appealing every day. But we'll save that discussion for another podcast. All right, so now we're on to Lee, who's got some exciting stuff to tell us about Batman Arkham Origins and what he's been playing.
Yeah, I mean, Tips has said it's some Batman Arkham Origins. I'm a huge comic book / Batman fan, so I picked it up on release day. Didn't really get to play it for a couple of days and beat it in 2. Nice. I have it for PC, and tons of bugs were there, but it didn't prevent me from doing the story, because I know some console games had a thing where it would stop in the story. There's really bad frame rate too in the last little stage when you're in Blackgate prison. So you have to turn down all your graphics and restart your computer, then play it. It's kind of lame. But I ended up finishing it and beat it in 2 days, but I'm only 25% done with the game. And I was actually just reading they already fixed the issue with the Burley Tower, because you could actually grapple in there, but you can't go through the vent to go disarm the radar thing. So I'm happy about that, so I might be playing it probably after the podcast. So
very cool.
And then hit 50 max level on Final Fantasy, so I've been raiding and doing all that cool stuff.
Oh, very nice. Congratulations on max level. That's always a good feeling. So.
Oh yeah, it's definitely now I'm just like crafting and probably gonna make a white mage, so we'll see how it goes.
I read this week where they're up to like 1.5 million subscribers now, so that's kind of a good milestone for them, coming from what happened with the original launch of Final Fantasy 14 and stuff. So.
Oh yeah, and when they did the free transfers for 5 days, it actually evened out a lot of the servers, so now there's no wait. With a lot of
awesome.
Yeah, so I mean now everything seems like it's distributed kind of evenly. People are able to play with other people without getting locked out, because if the server is full, they won't even let you make a character on it. So. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely, I haven't had a queue time yet, and I play, weekdays, weeknights, all the time actually, and I haven't had a queue since they released that. So.
Right on. Now, I was a big fan of Arkham City Batman, and I'm gonna definitely play Origins sometime soon. But one of my favorite things was just like some of the side characters that you get to interact with. I know, again, Joker's kind of the main theme, I think, on the new one, right? But you don't have to give away any huge spoiler, but any favorite interactions?
It was, I mean, you see, like, you have like the Killer Croc, and you have all that, all the original Batman, but it's like, this is set when it's 2 years after he's been Batman. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you always have like the Riddler, and Penguin has always been like the very first villains he always met. So, in this one, he kind of, it's kind of spoiler. When you see the Joker, not really see him, but when you do the crime scene you know, and I'm not gonna tell you kind of what goes on in there, but it's like, oh, well, it looks like it's the Joker, and he's like, I wonder who the Joker is, and you're like, oh man, you got the next 15 years of your life is gonna be hell, you know.
Yeah.
So it's definitely cool, and it actually goes in the story on why the Joker likes Batman, and like why he picks him, and so you kind of see it goes in depth the psychology of Joker, and then you get to see Harley for a second, because you know Harleen Quinn, is the thing. Quinn's is the real name of Harley Quinn. So and she was of course a psychiatrist of the Joker. So you have to kind of see that little snippet on how he's telling her about Batman and how he makes it think he's talking about her to kind of suck her in. So it's definitely really cool, and you get to kind of go in the side of the mind of the Joker, and it's really awesome. They did a really good execution of it. There's a lot of complaints saying, you know, it's practically the same thing as Arkham City, which is very similar, but at the same time, I mean, if you loved Arkham City, I think you would really like this. I mean, you get to see the Joker young, and which is always a plus. You get to see him as a upstarting citizen, and Bane's in there. I was kind of sad that Solomon Grundy wasn't in there, but whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
and the DLC. I'm sorry, I'm going on, but
No, you're
the
good.
DLC is I got the DLC for it, and a couple of the White Knight costumes, Earth ones. The Gaslamp Batman, where it's like set in like the 1700s, or maybe earlier or later than that, but somewhere in the past, and he's like all leather, and you get to throw throwing knives instead of batarangs.
Oh, very nice.
That's when he's a vampire, right?
I'm not sure. I didn't get a chance to read the series, but I just
Gaslight Batman is like, it's set in the like 1800s, whatever, but he's a vampire. He's not a human.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and then they'll be coming out with the Batman Beyond ones like they did with Arkham City, and there's a whole bunch of stuff to come. And you get to play as Bruce, actual Wayne, out as he's going through training in the next DLC contents. So you get to see him, with him going to India, learning pain suppression, and you get to go to learn about where he learned all his martial arts and all of his like acrobatics and stuff like that. So.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Go ahead.
Real quick on the Batman note, how was the voice acting? Because it's like the first time they didn't get Mark Hamill to do Joker. How was that?
It was actually pretty good. I actually thought it was Mark Hamill, so I had to look on the credits. So, it was, I mean, it sucks that Luke wasn't there to do it, but, it was still good. I mean, like, all the voice acting was good. It wasn't cheesy. It's really nice too because, this goes with any Final Fantasy game. If you've been playing Final Fantasy, you know how cheesy all the voice acting has ever been in every single game. So, it's really nice to see, the Penguin acting like Penguin, Killer Croc, Black Mask was amazing. The Joker, in that game is just brutal. So, I mean, and Wayne, you get to play a little bit more violent Batman because this is when he was young and still full of vengeance, instead of like old and, well, not really old, but just like tired of it, just like all the crap that happens. But, both of them were both equally violent and equally just like the acting was good, I should say. So.
Very cool.
Very nice.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited I'm kind of hoping that they continue on with this series because it just seems like Batman, out of all the comic books, maybe not out of everybody, but he's one of the ones that's probably the best for gaming just because, I mean, if you make a Superman game, I mean, pretty much you can do anything and go, what's the challenge, I guess, is what I'm saying. But with Batman, it seems just custom made for gaming, and I really like the series that they've been doing, so hopefully this one will continue to succeed and they'll keep coming out with good games.
Mm-hmm.
Right on. Like I said, we're going to do a lot more about consoles tonight, and actually our top 5 tonight is going to be, we're going to discuss the top 5 consoles of all time. So everybody's got their own list, and we've been doing these lists at the end of the podcast now for a few podcasts in a row, and we'll have some interesting discussion at the end. But right now we're going to switch over and talk about something different. Magic, something that we're kind of all into. So we'll talk about that a little bit. I know, Shaq's been going down to his local Magic Emporium, whatever it might be, and facing off against his fellow nerds. So he's going to give us a lowdown on how that's been going, and some other people will chime in.
Yeah, for sure. I've been playing well, tonight's Friday. I didn't go tonight, but I went last night to do a draft, and it was pretty good. I came in second in the draft, and it was all right. I drafted a pure mono white deck. Actually, it was actually mono white, and I got lucky, and I had nothing but 1 and 2 drops. And all I did was just put down human creatures, and I had the Pegasus that make them all flying, and that's how I killed basically everybody. So it was pretty fun. I finally got shut down by a mono red deck, which is gonna happen whenever that happens. The guy who beat me ended up getting an Anger of the Gods, and it was like in game, and I thought I was gonna win, and he played that card, and he killed everything. So it's fun. I don't know. How are you doing it magically? Like, are you still building or?
No, I mean, I made my mill deck, so so far it's undefeated. So we'll see. It's not really all mill though. I mean, I kind of cheated and added a lot of creatures that go off people's graveyards, and so it's actually pretty good. I mean, it's not your standard mill. I mean, I could win by milling, but so far I've only won by putting people's health down. So, I mean, I get my consuming aberrations to about 30-30, and it's kind of stupid. So, yeah, so that's about it.
For sure. Hopefully, when I come over there, hopefully it'll be some kind of a challenge.
Oh, okay, yeah. I got 2 wins on you out of like 19, so I think we're good.
Yeah, we'll call it about even.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's about it for Magic. I mean, we got a tournament coming up this weekend. That's should be pretty good. It will decide a lot of like what cards are gonna be played next week during the Magic, like my Magic events. So right now, I mean, mono black is insane. That's what everybody's playing. I'm trying to build a mono blue deck just to rock the Master of Ways and the Thassa's. But until I get all those cards, I'll be rocking probably mono red this week, and then next week I'll probably have the mono blue done. But that's about it for Magic. Nothing's changed really. Theros is a really good set. I'm really happy with it.
I know you bought some packs and you're waiting to do some unboxing videos here in a couple weeks, but have you opened anything lately? Anybody? Anything good?
Yeah, nothing crazy. I think I got an Elspeth, and that was about it. I mean, nothing. There's money cards in the set, but there's nothing like crazy good. I mean, there's compared to right now, I'm just collecting Thoughtseizes like crazy. I mean, I've got about 8 Thoughtseizes. I'm trying to collect those as much as possible because I think those cards are just going to go up. I mean, Theros is going to be the expansion for the next 2 years, so I think that card's just going to do nothing but keep going up in price. So I'm just collecting those and Shrines and Nykthos. That's about it. I mean,
right on.
If I get some more of those, that'd be cool.
Well, I'm the Magic baby of the group. I've only bought a handful, I guess. I bought a deck builder's kit and some booster packs and things like that. So I'm slowly getting into it, but these guys have been teaching me little by little. And then I got one of our buddies, he's not on the podcast, is sending me a box full of all his dupes, and so I'm gonna be flooded with new cards here pretty soon. I'm kind of excited about that. But well, right on. We'll I guess now we'll kind of switch over. I know like Shaq had kind of previewed, he was talking about Hearthstone, so we're going to go on that a little bit more in depth and just talk about some of the stuff that Matt's been playing on his beta key, and then Shaq can tell us a little more.
I got my key like a week and a half to 2 weeks ago. When it first, went into open beta or closed beta and people started filling out keys, I was on Twitch and I was on all the Facebook channels, like, trying my hardest to get a key because I really wanted to play. And I spent like 3 or 4 days just not getting a key, and I was just like, you know what? I'll get one when I get one. It's too much disappointment for me being up these hours trying to get in on these giveaways on these Twitch channels. I have to work at certain times, so I quit with all the giveaways and everything, and one day there was news that in the next 2 weeks they're going to start sending out rapid fire invites. So I was like, well, maybe I'll get in on one of those. And I got in on the first wave. And I was like, heck yeah, this is awesome. So I started playing, and my first couple of games against the AI, Like, it sends you through this little tutorial of how to play the game, and it kind of makes you play certain cards. And after that, you've got to play and beat a certain class to unlock that class. You start out with the priest. So I wanted to play the warrior, so I was like, alright, well, I'll play the warrior. And then I used the priest, that it gave you and kind of taught you how to play, and I beat the warrior AI. And I was like, alright, now I got the warrior, so I'm going to go in against players and see if I can unlock these, and whatever I unlock, I'll unlock. And I must have lost 12, 13 games in a row. And I was just like, this is not like I thought it was. And I look online and I see there's all these tier lists for cards, and this card's way better than this card, or this card's slightly better than this one, unless you're playing this class. And, like, there's this whole big thing about it. And I'm like, this game is a whole lot bigger than I thought it was going to be. So I started getting into all of that. And how deep you guys are in all that Magic stuff, that's how I've gotten into Hearthstone. And so I started, playing these classes, and, I like certain classes better than others, or I feel like certain classes have too many cards they need, so it's not really viable to pick one. And because when you go a certain way with your class and your deck, you have to close out other options, whereas other classes can choose all those options and kind of not be overwhelmed by choice. So right now I'm playing an undefeated paladin deck. And I'm really enjoying that. I've kind of themed it. I was like, you know what? Instead of making, a full rounded deck, I'm just going to theme my deck. And my whole deck is big iron protectors. So everybody's got like divine shields or taunts, and they're all big characters, all in plate mail. And it's very just paladin themed. They're all Knights of the Light or something, or look kind of like paladins. And I don't think I lost once against my brother's gimmick druid deck, because he got in a couple of days after I did. And he was just like, you know what, this is the only deck I got that will beat you, and only if it works a certain way, and it worked a certain way for him, and you beat me with it. And other than that, I've just been playing my paladin deck every day, 2 or 3 games a day, try and get, that 1 win of the day, or the 3 wins, just to get some gold. I'm not really into the arena yet because I'm not very good at picking the cards, but I hope to get into the arena, and I'm looking forward to the invitational tournament that's coming up at Blizzcon next week. So that's pretty much me for Hearthstone. It's just playing my paladin deck.
Right on. Anything you wanted to add to that, Shaq?
The only thing I would add, it's got a lot of similarities to Magic. I mean, obviously there's some cards that are very good, and there's some cards that aren't. The cool thing about this game is you can't take all the overpowered cards and put them in one deck, because you have to play, like he was saying, you have to play a paladin deck, a hunter deck, or a rogue deck, and it makes it to where you're not having these insane cards, because there is no, unlike Magic, there is no types of mana you have to use. I mean, you get 1 mana each turn. There's no mana cards. You get up to 10 mana. And it's all the same color. All the cards are casted by the exact same mana. So they split it up in a way to where you can't just have you're using 15 cards that are just insanely good. You have to use it in that specific deck. So I like the way they did that. It makes it that much. It kind of takes away the luck factor. I mean, there's still luck in it. You have to get the cards you need. But when it comes to mana, I mean, Magic is there's such a curve for luck, where it's you've played the online game, Tips. You understand that you could mulligan 3 times because you had no mana. Right. In this game, you don't have to worry about that, just because you're going to have the mana. It's just a matter of how much does this card cost to cast, which I really like. It kind of takes a little factor. It makes it... The game is extremely hard, don't get me wrong. If you don't know anything about card games, you're going to have a tough time. It's got a little bit of a learning curve. I mean, it's not like a League of Legends learning curve, but it's still pretty steep. Once you learn the basic things, when your creature comes out, you can't attack with them. It's just like Magic, it's got a sleeping phase, and it's got a lot of similarities, which, I mean, you almost have to have similarities with Magic, because Magic is such a prominent or dominant card game right now, that you have to kind of base it off of that. But it does a lot of things on its own that are really good. And I like where it's going. I think it's going to be a really good game. It's going to be a cash cow for Blizzard. It's crazy how much money they're going to make off this game. And a lot of people, when it first, even including myself, was like, when they announced Hearthstone, I was like, what? We don't need another card game. We want something different. But I think they struck gold again, to be completely honest. I think with that, Diablo and WoW, they're just going to keep the money flowing. It's crazy how much money they're going to make off of this.
Well, go ahead.
Okay, so I was going to say, I think it's genius that they're making this their free-to-play game, because where you spend the money is buying multiple card packs. You can buy one for 100 gold, or you can buy like $5 or $10 or 15 or 20 or whatever bucks, however much, and you get like multiples, like 5 or 7 or 9 or 15 or whatever. And the card packs you get, there's at least one rare in every card pack, and you get 5 cards from it. But you don't actually have to spend any money for you get a daily quest every day to win a certain number of games with a certain class against other players, or you get gold income from playing and beating every AI on expert, every class on expert difficulty, or getting 100 wins, and there's so much gold income that you can use that to get your cards. So I think for every 3 wins you get 10 gold. So every 30 wins you get against a player, you can get a card pack. Not to mention 150 gold, you can play the arena, and the arena is where this game is amazing. Because you get a choice of one of 3 classes, and that is your choice. You can exit out the game and not play for a month. When you come back, you'll still have that same choice. So you can't back out and jump back in and back out and jump back in and try and get the class you want. You have to pick one of those 3 classes. And then once you pick one of those classes, you go into a sort of draft where it shows you 3 cards, and you pick one of those cards and the other 2 are discarded. And then it shows you 3 more cards, and you pick one of those 3, and the other 2 you don't get to choose from. But you also aren't limited to only the cards you own. So you can play any card in the game if you get the draft goes your way. And so you build your deck of 30 cards, and then you play against other people. And there you go from up to 9 wins in a row, and at 9 wins you get 2 card packs and a whole lot of gold. At 7 wins you get at least 150 gold, so you get your entrance fee back. At 8 wins you get like a crap ton of gold, more so than you would if you got 9 wins, because 9 wins you get the extra card pack. So there's and every time you enter the arena, no matter how many wins and losses you get, you always get at least 1 card pack. But if you get that 9 wins, you get an extra card pack. And then you have 3 losses to get as many wins as you can. So you keep playing and keep playing and keep playing against other players who are in the same boat as you, where they got the luck of the draw in their draft. And you're basically trying to get as many wins as you can before you get 3 losses. And once you get 3 losses, you cash out all your wins, and you get your card pack and your gold and your dust. And the dust is used for actually crafting cards. You can break down any card you own into dust and use that subsequent dust to craft another card you may want. And certain cards have certain costs. So I think the money is going to come in of people buying packs or paying money to enter the arena. I think that's where they're going to make their money. And because people always buy card packs for Magic, they're always wanting that certain card, and buying card packs in Hearthstone is the easiest way and the fastest way to get that.
Right.
So I think it's going to be a huge cash cow for them, and making it free to play, making it the ability to get all those cards with sheer luck and perseverance is a good idea, because that means more people will play the game.
Right.
But it's very easy to drop $20 and get 15 card packs, because nobody doesn't love opening up all those packs.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'm totally with you.
Yeah, I think it's kind of similar to the way League of Legends is set up, because I know a lot of the guys I play with, they're fine with buying champs. I've never bought a champ, but there's a way for me. I've got all the champs that I want pretty much, because I'm okay with just waiting and grinding it out. So that's probably how I'll be on Hearthstone too. But then having the option, it's a great way for them to make money, obviously, and they can always. I'm sure they're going to be, releasing new sets and things like that, and that'll drive up the sales and stuff like that. So there
are people online who are 100% dedicated to making free-to-play decks. They don't spend a single dime on their stuff, and they play competitively in ranked, and they have never spent a dime, and they win consistently. So they'll show you like, these are the cards I use. These are the ones that are expert that I got for backs, and these are the ones that are the basic cards that you get for leveling up your class.
Yeah.
So there is a community that plays strictly free to play, and they do pretty well.
Yep. Well, I definitely think Hearthstone's going to be, like you guys said, a big addition to the Blizz family, I guess. And then piling right on top of that is the Heroes of the Storm that they're coming out with as well, which I guess we're also going to see a lot more of at BlizzCon, I'm assuming. I know Shaq's really excited about that. Basically a Blizzard MOBA. So, pretty cool.
I think it's going to be awesome to see all of the Blizzard characters from lore in one game. That's going to be really cool to see.
And it's not just how,
the Barbarian pairs up against the Ghost.
Right. And it's not just WoW. I mean, that's the cool thing about it is, like, you're taking creatures from StarCraft or people from StarCraft, you're taking people from Diablo, and then you're also taking people from World of Warcraft, which, I mean, you combine those three together, it's just going to be, the characters are going to be so many different champions. I can only imagine. Like, I'm thinking probably 100 plus. I mean, I don't see how they couldn't do any less than that without being, viable.
Well, do you think they'll come out with just a pack at the beginning and then slowly add to it one at a time?
I think they'll do the Dota style. Blizzard likes making money at the end of the day, but I think it's going to be a free-to-play game. Mm-hmm. I think you can't make a MOBA today without it being free-to-play.
Right.
But there's going to be a thing where it's like, I think they're going to do exactly how Dota did. If you pay $50 now, we'll give you all the champions.
Okay.
For the beta. And you'll have those champions when the game actually releases. And if you didn't do that, well, each champion's going to cost you $5.
Right.
I don't think there's going to be 100 champions on day one. I think there'll be like 40, maybe 30. Mm-hmm. And if you paid the $40, you'll get the skins for them and you'll get the champions, so you won't have to worry about buying those. But once the game goes live, I don't think that option is going to be available. It might be. I don't know. It depends on how Blizzard wants to do it. But I think they like the new not pay to win, because I think MOBAs are a little different. I think they'll have the same system League has. I think they'll have, if you win a game, you get 100 gold, and a new Garage costs 3,000 gold.
Right.
I think they'll do something like that, which would be smart.
Yeah. No, I'm with you guys. I'm excited about it. Just the idea of, running down the lane as Lich King or Sylvanas or just, Thrall. I mean, it sounds awesome.
Fire Bat and Medic combo.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it should be pretty cool. I mean, I know Tiss will probably be a panda monk running around. Like crazy. I feel that's what you're gonna do.
Sure.
But it's gonna be fun. I think it's be a pretty cool experience. I think the cool thing about it is, before League of Legends, I had never played a MOBA before. I think I played a little bit of Dota, and it was all right. I mean, once you get used to one MOBA, it's hard to switch. Mm-hmm. I think it's the same way with MMOs. But I'm really excited about this one because it's got something that we all enjoy. Like, I think we all say here that WoW is probably on our top 5 of favorite games of all time, just because we've spent so much time in it.
Yep.
And there's a reason why, we go and we delve in it every now and then, because it's that nostalgia feeling. And then when we get this game, it's going to be like, mm-hmm. Well, I mean, if I don't have to pay for this, and this is basically, what I want to do in WoW, a little competitiveness without having to rely on 10 other people, I think that's going to be the way I want to go. Like, I'm hoping it's better than League of Legends, because I don't really particularly want to play Dota, and I'd rather play League over Dota. And if it's better than League, I'd rather play Heroes of the Storm.
Right.
So I'm hoping it'll be legit. But another cool thing is that we're all starting on the same level. Like, we're all fresh to this game. Hopefully we can get in the beta as fast as possible, so we can be like one of the early pioneers of the game and try to figure out the game before anybody else.
Yeah. Some of us joined in.
So late.
Yeah. Joining in 3 years after the league started, it's kind of hard to get learning curve.
Yeah, we didn't even know what a Smurf was, and we were just getting trounced by groups of Smurfs. And it was like, why are we getting shit on? We just started, and we're on the novice level.
Right.
And these guys, and now, like a year later, we're playing Smurf accounts, so we're like, fuck these scrubs.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember before League went mainstream, I had a friend who was like, hey man, you gotta check this game out. It's called League of Legends, just make an account. It's free to play, and it's pretty awesome. And I remember like jumping in and playing it. Like I remember the old layout. And I played like 2 games and I was like, hey, this turtle character is pretty cool. I like him. He's got the spikes. I like playing tanks. I'll play this guy. So I played a couple of games as him. And then I never touched the game again for like a year and a half. And all of a sudden, the game blows up and my brother's like, hey man, have you heard about this game, League of Legends? And I'm like, no, tell me about it. And he's like, oh, you got these 3 lanes and you got these towers and all these different characters you can play and it's really, really cool. And you level up your summoner thing that's consistent. And I was just like, that's a lot of information. But he was like, just play it. I'm like, all right. And so I jump in the game and I find out I have an account. And I'm like, all right, well, apparently I must have played this already. And so I jump in and I'm like, oh, dude, I remember this. I remember this turtle character. And then I'm looking at the turtle character, Rammus, and I see there's skins in the game and I have one. And I'm just like, holy crap, this guy looks like Bowser. That's amazing. And then, I start looking at the other characters, and I'm like, holy crap, this guy flies a little plane. I have a skin for him, too. It looks like a little UFO. So, apparently, I got all those. If you played in beta, you get these skins free on my account. But I jumped into the game about a year after it blew up.
Yeah.
Because it blew up shortly after I started playing it.
It got really big, because, Dota kind of died off, and everybody was looking for that new MOBA. I'm not sure it died off completely, but people were just like, Dota, it's whatever.
Well, once StarCraft 2 launched, and it wasn't easily made again in StarCraft 2, because that's what people were banking on, is that, when the character or the map creator in StarCraft 2 launches, we won't have to play in Warcraft 3 anymore. We'll play in StarCraft. And then it didn't come out, as expected, or as fast as expected. And I think because of that delay, that's when League blew up.
Yep.
I think Blizzard did that on purpose, just because Heroes of the Storm has been in works for like 3 years now. They actually have a trailer on YouTube from like 3 years ago, and it looks horrible, but it was way back in the day, and I think they were wanting it to where they were like, why are we going to give these guys these free map creators to make a Dota or a MOBA game when we can do it ourselves and charge people for it?
Yep.
And I think that's what happened, and then League comes out of nowhere. And Blizzard's like, well, shit. Well, we fucked up big, because if we would have released Heroes of the Storm, a year ago, we would be League of Legends right now,
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
but I'm glad that League blew up the way it did, because there's like 115, 120 champions, and I only don't own like 15 of them. So I absolutely love this game.
Yep. Yeah, it's a great game. Fuck, me and Tips and Lee, we put in fucking how many games? Probably like 1,000, at least 1,000 games apiece, or not apiece, but together. So we play at least once every night before we go to bed, for sure.
Yep, that's our routine. So, well, we'll have a lot more for you guys on Hearthstone and Heroes of the Storm. Like Matt was saying with BlizzCon starting next week. I think I'm right, Matt and Shaq. You guys are getting together for watching it, right? Or
yeah, Shaq's coming over, and we're gonna put it up on my big TV and spend all weekend.
Right. So there should be a lot of live updates and stuff coming too, like on Twitter and maybe some stuff on our website and stuff as well. So
definitely check out the website. We're gonna try to get some stuff on YouTube as well. I think we can. I think we can do that. Me and Matt can we could chat. It'll actually be better quality too, because we'll just do it right there, and we'll just use a recording device, and we'll chat in the same room, and we'll talk about what just happened.
Very cool.
Yeah, definitely.
So follow our Twitter page, and also check out our site, bookmark that, and you'll be able to keep up with everything that's going on, and obviously this YouTube channel as well. But now we're going to switch back over and start talking about the kind of the main topic of the week, which is the upcoming console launches of PS4 and Xbox. There's been with the launches, kind of coming up on us here quickly. There's been a lot of stuff happening, and so we got a lot to catch up on with that. Probably some of the biggest news has just been some of the launch titles that have been postponed, affecting multiple consoles. And I guess probably the biggest one is Watch Dogs, which is across all the platforms, and that's being pushed back until sometime next year, second quarter maybe of 2014. So What would you guys think about that? I know Shaq and I were planning on pre-ordering that one, and
I had it paid off.
Yeah, that was going to be
I had that thing. I'm actually getting Call of Duty Ghost right now because I can't get Watch Dogs. Because I went to GameStop and I was like, well, what do I do since this game's not coming out for 2 months? Because in 2 months, I'm sorry, Watch Dogs, but I'm going to be playing Destiny.
Well,
you can go.
And there's no guarantee. I mean, they pushed it back once, and they haven't really set a hard date of when it's coming out yet, I don't think. So
I hate when these companies do this because it's like, in all honesty, Watch Dogs is one of the main reasons why I was going to get a PS4. I mean, it's one of those games where everybody was like, this game's way better than it is on current gen. Mm-hmm. And this is going to push the next gen consoles a little bit. It's going to be probably the best looking game on the next gen consoles. So I was like, all right, well, I'll go ahead and get a PS4 because I'm not going to be able to play it on my computer, and it's going to be awesome. I'm happy. I think Watch Dogs is going to be a great game. And then they pull this shit on us, and it's like, why not do this earlier? I mean, Grand Theft Auto, granted, did this to us as well. They were like, oh yeah, we're coming out next September, like a month before it's supposed to be released.
Yeah.
But this is like a new next gen console game. Like these, I can only imagine how pissed Sony and Microsoft are.
Oh yeah.
Because there was bundles that were out. There's people who aren't going to get their console because they ordered a bundle, which to me is just so shitty of them. But
yeah, I was gonna work on saving up and getting that console and getting that Watch Dogs just to play it. And now that it's not coming out till next year, I'm not even going to get a PS4 until 2-3 months down the line. There's no big reason. Since I can play The Division on PC, I'm good.
Right. See, I mean, like I said, it's coming out. If it comes out in Q2, they're saying Destiny's going to come out in June or July, and it's like, dude, I'm not going to be playing fucking Watch Dogs when not The Division, Destiny is out. I'm going to spend so much time in Destiny, and then on top of that, I mean, DayZ should be coming out around then, So my time isn't going to be anywhere near Watch Dogs.
Yeah. I think the thing, I'm always torn on these situations. Like, on the one hand, I don't want them ever to put out a game just because they have a deadline. And we hear all the time about how these stories about how games got rushed out by some publisher and they had the gun to the head of the guys making the game and blah, blah, blah. But I think what you do wrong, though, is setting the expectation. You're at E3, you're at the big PS4 and Xbox One launch announcements and stuff saying, hey, Watch Dogs, yada, yada, yada. And then a few months later, right before the consoles come out, you're like, nah, actually, we're pushing it back. Like, just, if they would have pushed it back before all that, I think it would have been fine.
I don't think it would have been that big of a deal if it wasn't for a next-gen console.
Yeah, that's
because it was one of the launch titles.
Right, being a launch title is huge. And what upsets me, too, is it makes me think, okay, did everybody know that it wasn't coming out, but they just wanted to pump up their pre-orders by having another supposed launch title that looked awesome? I mean, the only other explanation I could think is that they saw GTA 5 and they're like, fuck, we gotta add some more stuff into the game or it's not going to compare.
That was another thing, too. Because, I mean, I remember the tweet, I think I retweeted it out, was the guys who did Watch Dogs, they were like, enjoy your time in Los Santos, but come November, you're going to enjoy your time in Chicago. Like, they were beefing pretty hard with GTA. They were, like, letting people know, like, GTA isn't going to last very long because our game's going to whoop its ass. People are going to be want to be in our world more than they're going to want to be in GTA's world. Mm-hmm. And to me, that was like, all right, the gloves are off. They want to compete, and then they do this shit. They're like, oh, by the way, guys, we're not coming out until next year. Sorry. And they haven't said a word since. Like, I don't know. It's a shitty. I think it's pretty shitty on their part. They should have done something. They at least release like a day one demo or something for everybody who's getting a new console. Something, at least something.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, a beta or something would have been cool. I mean, everyone's so pumped for pre-ordering Destiny because that beta is going to be coming out, and they've been really, saying that's going to be awesome. So, why not just put out a beta or something? But, well, they're not the only ones. Also, PS4's launch title Drive Club, which is going to be partially free to PS Plus members, that's also being pushed back till early next year, which is basically just a racing game, kind of a Gran Turismo type clone, I guess you could say. So,
I don't think anybody was really excited for it, to be completely honest.
I was only excited to see, the trailers or whatever that you saw at the PS4 launch. Well, it looked like the graphics were really good, the detail on the cars and stuff. So I was going to pop it on and just kind of see what a Ferrari looks like on a PS4. That was pretty much all I was going to do. I'm not a big racing guy, but just another one to stack on. It kind of, I guess, a little bit dings PS4 since it was an exclusive. But I did read where there's going to be 2 free-to-play titles now on launch day on PlayStation Plus, additional that they didn't have before, I guess, kind of to make up for Drive Club not being there, and that's Resogun and a game called Contrast, which I'm actually really interested in. It looks kind of like the artwork is basically looks like BioShock Infinite, or that's really what it looks like to me. I don't know, what it's going to be all about, but it's kind of a
Is that the one where that chick switches between herself and her shadow to platform?
Yeah, I think so. Yep.
Yeah, that looks pretty.
Yeah.
So that'll be kind of cool, and I'm excited to check that out. But like you said, I mean, not the Drive Club by any means was driving people to purchase PS4 or anything. But
I was interested in Drive Club just because I'm one of those people who thinks that I can play racing games when I know I can't. And I'm just like, oh wow, I got the new Need for Speed Shift game, or I'm getting this Forza Motorsport, blah blah blah, and then I play it and I'm awful and I don't play it for another 3 months, and then I'm like, you know what, I got this game, I'll play it some more, and I think I can be good at it, but I'm not.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's a game I was interested in.
When it comes to racing games, I play GTA. That's probably the best racing game I've ever played, just because it's awesome. I mean, I could run people over, and it's like, oh, now you have the cops. Like, I don't see how games like Need for Speed and stuff like that are even still in business. When GTA releases a game, I just don't. I mean, obviously the numbers show that GTA isn't for just one person who enjoys one part of a genre. It's for everybody. Mm-hmm. And if you told me, like, even if I was a racing fan, like, are you ready for Need for Speed Rivals or GTA 5? I'd just be like, GTA 5, are you fucking high? Like, that shit's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, I played the GTA race mode in it, because it was like, they say you get weapons, but I thought all that meant was that you can shoot people with your own gun. Mm-hmm. There's power-ups and rockets and stuff. It's like Mario Kart. It's amazing. Because Mario Kart and GTA.
What were those old PlayStation games, Twisted Metal or whatever? Now those were fun.
Twisted Metal.
Yeah.
Dude, I think the best racing game, I think me and Tips actually agree, is Mario Kart 64.
Oh yeah. Hands down. Yep. That might be one of the best games ever, period. The game is awesome.
Oh, let's not go that far, but yeah, I mean, I totally agree. It's
the value of that game is through the roof, but
it is actually some balloon combat, which is the funnest thing ever.
Yeah, if you have 3 or 4 guys, oh my god, that's probably my favorite game to land is Mario Kart 64 battle mode. But very cool. Well, there's some other. I mean, there's a lot of news basically surrounding these consoles. I guess the stuff that's really been popping up this week is the kind of the quality or the resolution comparisons between the PS4 and the Xbox One. Battlefield 4, we got the information on that's come out. Also, Call of Duty has announced their native resolutions on the 2 consoles. And in both cases, well, a little bit disappointingly on Battlefield 4, neither console can play at 1080p and at 60 frames a second. It seems like most of the publishers are demanding 60 frames a second for their games. So what they did for Battlefield 4 is Xbox One's running at 720p, and then it's upscaling to 1080, and then PS4 is running at like 900p, which is obviously a little bit better, and it's upscaling as well. So that was kind of interesting that neither one of them could run it, which that could be partly due to these new engines. Some of the developers may not have engines that can take advantage of the new hardware in these consoles to the max capabilities, but kind of surprising that launch titles coming out that aren't even running at 1080p. But and then again on Call of Duty, same thing. Xbox One's running at 720p, and this one actually PS4's running at 1080p. So what do you guys think about that? I mean, is resolution a big deal? I know PC gamers wouldn't put up with that.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty huge deal. I mean, we're at the point now where 1080 is, the staple. We're not even 5 years out of 4K television.
Right.
Like, I don't think people are realizing this, but 4K TV is going to be coming. And, I mean, it's not that crazy just yet, but if you can't even run 1080p on the Xbox One, can you go up from there? Like, I just don't understand how they couldn't just squeeze out the extra, the 1080p.
Yeah.
I don't see how you can even get away with it at this point in time. That's why PC is just, it's getting, I didn't think it would be this big of a difference. But I mean, the PS4 can obviously run COD at 1080p, which I think has the advantage over the Xbox. It's just weird how Call of Duty, they're, like, especially Infinity Ward, they are all over Xbox.
Yeah.
Like, they get all the DLC first, they get everything first, and it's like, your game can't even run the fullest, definition on your home console.
Right. Yeah.
I just don't understand that.
It's really bizarre, and I think it illustrates too partly that something we've heard a little bit that's leaked out, that they're saying that it kind of flipping roles on the last gen, the PS3. One of the big complaints from developers was it was hard to port games to it because it was kind of the way it was set up. And from what I've read, that some of the differences in the RAM on the Xbox, it's got this ES RAM, and I'm not a tech expert like that, but that's one of the things that they're saying that I think is causing problems, and they're having trouble optimizing their games for that. So that could have been potentially be a big misstep for Xbox One. But cause to me, it's a big deal. I mean, when you're buying a new console, I mean, my God, I mean, there's plenty of games on PS3 that run at 1080p. Now I'm buying a new gen console, and it's not. It boggles my mind. And then I think this week I tweeted something out about it, and I got hit by a couple Xbox fanboys saying, yeah, well, at least my console, I can play my music on my console. I'm like, really? That's your argument? Why you're paying an extra $100 and, hey, you can play your music? I can play my music on a cassette tape player, on a freaking cell phone. I mean, any device on earth pretty much can play music. Why do I care if my console can play it? If my console can't even play games the way it should, that's a big problem.
If Destiny comes out, when it comes out and they're saying, oh, Destiny's only 720 on the Xbox and 1080 on the PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
But, oh, sorry guys, you can't listen to Smashing Pumpkins while you play. I'd be like, dude, I got my cell phone right next to me. That's probably an iPhone, and I'll just use my playlist and put headphones in. I mean, I'd rather have the definition way over music any day of the week.
And the $100 in my pocket. I mean, and not to mention the fact that, there's still features within Sony that can do it. You just can't stream it straight from your
that's a great point.
Computer.
Take the $100 you saved and go buy fucking iPhone. How many?
Well, no, and they do have a music service, that Sony Unlimited music service or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like $5 a month. I think. So how many months will that $100 buy you? So
yeah, exactly.
Get out of here. Yeah. And besides, that's an easy feature they can add later. I mean, the guys from Sony already, the head president of.
I don't even understand. Why is there still fanboys of these consoles? Like, how you would think with the computers now and the education that we can just look at a website and go, hey, this one's obviously better. Why the fuck am I still being an Xbox fanboy whenever you?
Yeah, I mean,
okay, so Dead Rising 3. I mean, I guess that's kind of cool.
Titanfall. I mean, that's our big thing. But the thing is I'm fine with if you want to buy an Xbox One and I don't, more power to you. That's fine. But, I mean, let's all just be reasonable. What upsets me is when people try to ignore obvious weaknesses of one or the other, in favor, just because that's what they like. I mean, you and I are huge 360 fanboys, and as soon as we saw the writing on the wall, what Xbox was doing, we didn't like it. We had no problem switching because we're not just blinded by, I've always played on Xbox, so that's all I'm going to play on, and fuck PS4, I don't care what they say.
If you can save me $100 and have better quality in video games... Why not?
Yeah,
I mean, it seems to me like it's just a one-sided argument. And at the end of the day, it's like, you and me are going to eventually get an Xbox One. Like, next year. I don't care. I'm going to go back. I'm going to play when I get my Xbox One, Dead Rising 3 will be $20, and I'll be happy with it. And hopefully, Microsoft wakes up and goes, oh, for all you guys who don't want the Kinect, here's a version without the Kinect. Are you happy now? And we'll be like, yes, this is all we wanted.
Right.
If you would have done this from the beginning, I probably would have bought an Xbox One just because I'm comfortable with your controller.
Right.
Yep. But no, you had to go and put a Kinect in it, and I don't want to pay the extra $100 on top of it.
Right.
So
I don't buy Dead Rising as this huge exclusive anyway. I mean, it's another freaking zombie game. Those come out like every 2 weeks.
Yeah. Well,
my God.
they're good games. Don't get me
Yeah,
wrong, they're
they're
good games.
good,
But is it worth me paying $500 just to play it on day one? No.
it's not any more impressive to me than Killzone. You know what I mean? Killzone's just another FPS.
Mm-hmm.
Big deal, whatever. I'm not like,
Oh, I totally agree.
I wouldn't buy PlayStation just to play Killzone. I wouldn't buy Xbox just to play Dead Rising. Now Titanfall, that's something I guess we can talk about. We announced this week that, that's not coming to PS4, period. Which there was some debate that eventually it would, and it was a timed exclusive.
I sent a pretty nasty tweet to Vince and Pella, and I'm sorry.
Yeah, just real quick, if anyone from Respawn is entertaining, listen, go fuck yourselves. But no. I mean,
I'm very happy with it.
No, I mean, it's brilliant. I mean, you have a brand new company. You're trying to come up from the ashes of Infinity Ward, so let's tie ourselves to one console. And by the way, the one that's going to be losing from out of the gate. That's a great way to launch out. But
this game already has Game of the Year written all over it. It has the best multiplayer system that people are just raving about. I obviously haven't played it. I've seen video. It's won so many E3 awards and everything like that.
Right.
And it's like, I'd almost say triple your profit just by putting it on every console.
Yep.
Like, how are you not putting this on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 3? I mean, it's coming to 360, so I mean, fuck, I guess I'll play it for the 360.
Well, it's coming to PC, so good news for you. Well, I know we've talked about that. There's not as many people going to be playing online on the PC, but
that's the only one downfall of the PC, in my opinion, is I just don't think there's that, when it comes to first-person shooters, there's just not that many people. And then it's a whole different monster. Like, we've been grown to the controller for first-person shooter. I don't think we've played the last first-person shooter I played on my computer was Portal 2. It's not exactly competitive.
No.
So it's almost like the fun factor would just be taken away right away, because these people who, they live with keyboard and mouse, and they would just shit all over me. And I know my place when it comes to PC gaming.
Right.
And first-person shooters isn't where I shine at. On controller, with Xbox though, it's a little different.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I'm disappointed about the whole Titanfall thing. I do think that they'll wisen up. Titanfall 2, I think, will end up on PS3 or 4.
They know better now. Anything from Respawn Entertainment will be every platform from here on out. Because I think they're getting serious backlash right now.
Well, it's not even just Respawn, too. It's EA. EA's just announced their newest quarter. They lost $250 million loss. And so their biggest, most anticipated title is coming exclusively to PC and Xbox. I mean, it's why they're chopping themselves off at the knees. I don't know, but that's their decision, I guess.
So real quick on that, I was reading this article. Apparently, the people from EA, when Battlefield 4 launched, somebody at EA thought it was a good idea to hire 5 people in the military to fly jets over the EA studio, and they didn't even announce, like, it was nothing crazy, like, it was literally just for the people working at EA, and most people who were working there tweeted out, like, what was that big rumbling noise? And because nobody even saw it, like, nobody was even, like, looking out the building window to see what was going on. So they spent like $100
military. Oh my god!
Yeah, they had like this Super Bowl flyover, and everyone was just what's going on right now? Are we getting bombed? I just want to know, like, who thought EA was just like, hey guys, we got $100,000 in the bank. What do you guys think? I mean, 21 gun salute. I don't know.
Give everybody a raise, a little Christmas bonus, and then jets, man, jets.
People in the development department thought it was payback for SimCity.
What?
People in the development department thought it was payback for SimCity.
They're finally, we're getting nuked.
They're finally gonna die. This is how it ends. We're sorry.
I knew we were gonna get killed for this.
They're just like, I just want to see the one guy who was just like, jets, let's do it. I've always wanted to see this. Let's do it. And then when it goes on, like, Jimmy's in the fucking parking lot looking up and just waving at the jets as they go by. He's the only one. He's like, this is the best $100,000 I've ever spent.
The only guy who saw it.
Yeah, exactly. I just thought that was crazy because they keep talking about their money losses, and the shit they do. It just makes you wonder, like, what are they doing?
I mean, you just keep giving them these, I mean, look, like you said, SimCity. Here's this game so highly anticipated. I mean, could you shoot yourself in the dick any harder than the did? And then, Titanfall, I feel like it's kind of the same thing. I mean, it's obviously a great game, although that has nothing to do with EA. they're just along for the ride to publish the game. But you know, again, as a publisher, they've made a stupid decision, in my opinion. So.
Yeah, it just makes me like really scared for these games. I'm really looking forward to, like, obviously Battlefront. Like, they better not fuck that game up, because that's a lot of responsibility, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think Battlefront, they have a chance to make greatness happen, and they don't have a really good track record whenever they have these games in their hands, you know?
Yep.
So.
Alright, guys. Well, I mean, there's so much stuff we could go on with the consoles, but we're honestly going to be pelting you with this stuff every week now for the whole month. Just, you know,
before we do get off of it,
oh, good.
I just want to talk like about a little bit about Nintendo. Like, should they just give up? They had an increase in sales of 300,000 Wii U's sold in the last quarter. They still lost money.
God.
They're still in the negative. Like, should they just like say, all right, guys, screw it. We're gonna sell our. You'll be able to play Legend of Zelda on PlayStation 4. Fuck it.
Oh man, I don't know. That just depresses me. It's funny because in this last part we're going to do is the top 5 consoles, and there's literally 3 Nintendo consoles on that list, which is insane because I will never touch a Nintendo console again as long as I live. Right. That's what's said. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing they could do at this point. They're done. So. It's sad. Poor guys. Just rest in peace. I think we should just hire EA and send a couple jets over to fucking Japan. Like, hey guys, it's about time. God, good one. Anyways, off of this console talk. But yeah, we'll have. I mean, 2 weeks from now, Shaq and I will be in our PS4, so we're gonna obviously have a ton of stuff to talk about when that happens, and we'll just keep you guys updated as new stuff's happening. One other thing I wanted to mention, if you don't already know about it, that starting on the 11th, Target's going to have a deal. Any game you buy is buy 2 get 1 free, and that includes the next gen consoles. So if you have a Target anywhere near you, better get over there that week. It's kind of a way to celebrate PS4 coming out. While you're talking about that, you want to tell what we did with our GTA 4 title? Oh yeah. Or? Also, yeah. I mean, if we're getting on the topic of deals, Amazon right now, if you trade in $30 worth of games, they will give you a DualShock 4 controller for that, basically. And the way it works is Shaq and I, we both had GTA 5. We were not going to play the online, so we traded it in, and it was worth $30. So as soon as they get it and they give us the $30 credit, we just go drop a DualShock 4 in our cart, and it's done. So basically you're getting half off. So that's kind of a cool deal. If you're getting a PS4, supposedly the new controllers are just fantastic. The reviews that are coming out on those have been really good, so. I was actually debating, like, should I just go back to Walmart, just turn this in for $60 and buy a game? And I was like, I want to get this new computer. I might as well just have, like, a controller for my computer and one for my PS4, because they're going to be in different rooms anyway, so yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I haven't decided yet, though. Yep. That's awesome. So next, the last part now, we're just going to go into our top 5. So it's our top 5 consoles ever, and we'll do it kind of like we've done in the past. We'll start with number 5 and go around the room and just do this a couple times around so we get to the top and just give your choice and a quick reason why. So we'll start out with, we haven't heard from Lee in a while. Lee, you want to give us your number 5?
That'll be PlayStation 1.
Ooh. PS1. PS1's so low on the list.
I know. Well, dude, I'm old school, man. Like, I don't know. Like, that's the only new school console system I had. Because I mean, it had 7. I had Tactics on it. Mm-hmm. All the really good titles, and Metal Gear Solid 1, or just Metal Gear Solid, I should say. And so it's definitely up there. That's actually the only system I ever bought with my allowance. I actually saved up to buy it.
Ooh,
so my first game, it gives it kind of a little spunk to it. And then Resident Evil was the very first game I ever played on it. So.
Oh yeah, a lot of great RPGs on that one for sure.
Oh, definitely.
All right, Matt, what about you? Number 5?
My number 5 is the GameCube.
Ooh, interesting.
Because that's where you got your Super Smash Brothers from, and
some great Zeldas too.
That's where there's a Zelda from it. When you got they remade Ocarina of Time on hard mode.
The Master's Quest, yep.
Yeah, Master Quest. Master Quest was so good. And then you've also got the ability to link in your Game Boy Advance and play the combo games with them.
Yep.
So you could play on the console itself, or you could link in your GBAs and play like the Final Fantasy games or some of the other stuff.
The GameCube had some of the best remade titles. Like I think that Resident Evil 1 remake was probably the best remake I've ever played.
Resident Evil Zero is still one of my
amazing.
favorite Resident Evil games. They also had what was that one? Oh god, I just had it in my head. Oh well. Yeah, they had some pretty amazing stuff.
Soul Calibur 2 was really good on it, too.
Soul Calibur 2 was really good, yeah.
They also had a lot of really good launch titles. I mean, a new franchise with Pikmin. I mean, that's obviously took over a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's a solid system. I think it's one of Nintendo's better ones.
I think so, too.
All right, cool. Shaq, what about you?
Mine is the Xbox 360. It's the first console that we could ever. It's the first console where the internet kind of took over a little bit, and we could do anything we wanted on it. It's like, yeah, you want to watch Netflix, you want to do whatever. It's clutch. So
yeah, I definitely think the online gaming aspect and multiplayer.
Online gaming was it changed everything.
Yep. For me, number 5 actually in the same boat as Lee is PlayStation 1. I kind of debated between that and Super NES, but in the end, PlayStation 1 just had so many amazing games, and following up from that from N64, it was kind of that time for me. I went from playing some of the, games like Mario and James Bond, and then kind of moving into, some RPGs and stuff like that there was on the PlayStation 1. So a lot of fond memories of that console. So. Lee, number 4?
Number 4 is actually, hold on, I have the list right here. Sorry, I'm unprepared.
Sorry.
Oh boy.
I know, I suck.
The Atari 3600.
The what?
What was Tips's number 5?
PlayStation 1?
Oh. Mine was N64.
PS1?
I'm sorry.
Okay.
N64?
N64, yeah.
Okay.
N64 is your number 4?
4. I mean, like I said, it's, I played tons of Killer Instinct, kind of like I was saying earlier. It just, the Killer Instinct Gold on it, you had GoldenEye, 007, Perfect Dark if you like that aspect of it. So it was definitely, I mean, I remember turning on my 64 and seeing Mario's face, and you could stretch it, and that was the coolest thing. And I always thought that graphics could never get any better.
Yeah,
so.
Definitely. Very good. Matt, what you got for number 4?
I've got the Nintendo DS. Like all the way from the original DS up into the current the 3DS, all the DS titles are. It's where Nintendo needs to focus. They need to focus on handhelds.
Yeah. Because
you've got all those Pokemon games. You've got the Burning Emblem, all the Tactics types games. Just like Final Fantasy Tactics, like those games are just remarkably amazing to me. So yeah, Tactics games and the Pokemon games. I think DS, and they've got a solid like a Warhammer 40K game on there is really good. I remember I enjoyed actually playing the Metroid game on there, where you use the stylus to aim and stuff on the bottom screen. I think the DS is where the Nintendo's future is, to be honest.
Very cool.
My number 4. My number 4 is actually the Game Boy Advance SP. And it was the reason why is because it was probably the most revolutionary Game Boy I think we've had. Just because it was a one Game Boy where you could play Pokemon in the dark. Like it just started, like you got the lit up back screen. The Game Boy Advance was a great system. But now you could play it in the dark and not have to have all these fancy gadgets to go with it. So I think that was probably the coolest thing. It was the smallest fucking thing too, because you flip it, the first flippable Game Boy, which, we use that today with our DSs.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that one was the best one, just because you could play all the old school games on it, and you could play the Game Boy Advance games on it, and then you had the backlight, and you could just, right before you go to bed, play an hour of Donkey Kong or something.
That's a good choice.
Very cool. You guys' lists are blowing my mind a little bit, because I just haven't played a lot of these. But for me, my number 4 is the Xbox 360. Like Shaq said, just the online gaming, the fact that it's been basically an 8-year console. It's definitely been the console I've owned the longest. I had a few setbacks with like the Red Ring and things like that, but overall, just a great console. Too many great games to mention, but I mean, I think for me, one of my favorite series is that's exclusive to 360 is Gears of War, and I'll always love that franchise. So, all right, Lee, what's your number 3?
Number 3 is actually Sega Saturn. I was a big Sega Saturn fan. It blew away everything. I mean, the graphics wise was amazing. I know it really didn't pick up here in the States. Apparently it's really big in Japan. But I mean, I remember my buddy playing NBA 2K on it, and it was the first time you could see sweat on the player, and I was like, wow, that's so realistic. You know, you had like Bomberman, Virtual Cop on there. You have Nights into Dreams, Virtual Fighter 2, Berserk, actually one of my favorite animes, sort of the Berserk was on there. And I mean, you had Marvel vs. Capcom 2. So, I mean, to me, it was one of the top. It's hard to make this list, but that was me all the way.
Very cool. Matt?
I'm going to do a little foreshadowing and say his favorite console is the Dreamcast.
Yeah,
Ooh,
probably.
Interesting.
My number 3 is the PS3.
Okay.
For the same reasons you guys are saying the 360, all that stuff is on the PS3,
Right.
but you don't have to pay for Xbox Live. You get PSN for free. And if you choose to pay for PlayStation Plus, like if you choose that route, the $5 a month or less than $5 a month, all the free games and all the extra things you get, all the discounts and free games, and just, you know, the community's not as great because people aren't paying for it and it is free. But I think if you like games and you like not paying for them, or not paying as much for them, I think PlayStation
I feel like this is a jab.
No, it's such a great slogan that every free-to-play game should use. If you like games and you don't like playing for them, try our game.
I mean, and I everything you do on the 360, you can do on the PS3, and you don't have to pay for it. So
Right.
I think it's just a solid system all around. That's my number 3.
Yeah, I mean, if I had
It's
owned
so
a PS3 longer, I definitely think that would have been up there. I didn't have one long enough. What were you going to say, Shaq?
I was just going to say, I mean, if you wanted your account to get hacked and your credit cards to be destroyed, go with PlayStation 3. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, that never happened to me. And, hey, we got free games out of that, so more games that I didn't have to pay for.
Well, for me, or no, Shaq.
It was cheaper. The reason why I didn't have a PS3, though, in all honesty, as we always talk about this fanboy thing, was the price, the price.
Yep. Yeah.
Instead of $600, why would you spend that when you can pay $400 and get
No, I didn't have mine when it was $600. I got it at like the $300 mark.
Yeah. It was just one of those things, like, once you start off with something, you just kind of go with it, and that's what it was. It was like, hey, you know, I was a kid at then, it was like my parents were like, hey, which one do you want? They didn't actually give me that choice. They said, which one do you want? And they were like, oh, I was like, PS3, obviously, because it's more expensive. It's got to be better. And they looked at the price and they were like, you're getting an Xbox.
Right.
So,
and the fact that 60 came out.
Also, the Uncharted series. The Uncharted series for PS3.
Right.
That's where it's at.
For sure. All right. My number 3, I think it is.
Yep.
My number 3 is the PlayStation 1. I mean, it's the best. Probably that was my very first system. That's the first system I ever owned, was a PlayStation 1. And seeing Resident Evil was amazing. I played Final Fantasy VIII. That was the first RPG game I've ever played besides Pokemon. And if you don't think Pokemon's not an RPG, you're an idiot. So it's pretty much where I started gaming. That was, other than the Game Boy, that's where I spent most of my time, was playing Crash Bandicoot, which I still think is one of the funnest games I've ever played. Final Fantasy, Resident Evil, Bushido Blade, if anybody remembers that shit.
Oh, goodness.
That was my first fighting game I've ever played. So this is a solid system. It was one of my favorite. The cheesy commercials, I can still remember them today. So
very cool. For me, my number 3 is PlayStation 2. That was one of the consoles that I just always loved, and it was one of the, I remember, it was probably, I think it was the last console my parents bought me. But I remember I didn't think I was getting it, whatever. My mom made this giant box, and she's like, here, this is your Christmas present. I'm like, all right, whatever. And so I thought it was like a fucking rocking horse or something. And I opened it up, and it's like a box inside a box inside a box. It was a PS2, and it was just an awesome system. And I had a hard time switching from PS2 to 360 at first, just because I've been playing on PlayStation for so long. But yep, that's my number 3. What you got for number 2, Lee?
And I need to revise. It was Dreamcast, and I was actually mixing Dreamcast and Saturn games together, but it was still Saturn. So sorry for the mix-up. But my number 2 would have to be Sega Genesis.
Very nice. The Sonic originality. Yeah, Sonic and Mortal Kombat, basically.
Yeah, so, sometimes I tell Shaq about Comic Zone, if anybody's ever played that.
Oh, I do remember that game.
It's an amazing game. And you can play it on Xbox 360. If anybody wants it, go look it up. It's amazing.
So badass. Such a cool game. And, so I remember, playing that all the time, and, I actually didn't own it. My friend owned it, so I'd always go to his house and play it. So, yeah, definitely. I mean, I hate that Sega doesn't make systems anymore, because I still think there was always one up, but they weren't a big contender here in the States. So I think that's
just really, really bad marketing. That's what shows. I mean, that shows you what bad marketing does. You start making games for other consoles.
Yeah, they always done phenomenal in Japan, but just here in the States, just not as strong. But they're always amazing systems, always ahead of their time. So
yeah, I had a Sega Genesis, I had a Master System. I loved Sega. I think that Nintendo just always had a leg up on them, because they were the first ones with the original NES, and with Mario and Zelda and stuff like that. They kind of captured everybody's attention. I think it was always kind of an underdog fight for Sega a little bit, but definitely good systems though. What do you got, Matt, for number 2?
Number 2 for me is the original Xbox. For the beginning of the Halo series, there's this party game my friends and I played called Fusion Frenzy. It was just a whole bunch of different mini games, and I think that's like one of the first multiple mini games that was on consoles.
Mario Party.
Yeah, Mario Party was, but I think that was still around the same time as Fusion Frenzy.
64, right? Yeah, they had Mario Party on 64.
Was it on 64? I thought it
was on Mario Party 1 was on 64, and it came out like the first year the 64 came out.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought
it's old as shit, because they ended up having 4 of them for the N64.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, anyway. But no, my favorite title, the thing that puts it at number 2, is a series called Mech Assault.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Oh, yeah. Me and my brother, we'd come home from school, and we would just play 2v whatever. It was one of the only multiplayer games where 2 people on one console could play online with other players. And we climbed the ranks and ladders and eventually held like the number 2 spot for scores on the Capture the Flag game mode. Like people knew who we were and everything, and we were up on the leaderboards as number 2. And we never hit the number 1 spot though, but it was some of my best memories in gaming, is just playing Mech Assault every day for 12 hours a day.
Very nice.
Very good. Gotcha.
My number 2 is the Xbox, and I played this game called Mech Assault, and I was number 1, and nobody could beat me for some reason.
You were not.
No, really. My number 2 is the N64. Probably the games we have today wouldn't be anywhere near as good. 007 GoldenEye made first-person shooters, party games, obviously Mario Party and everything made those games that much fun. Super Mario, amazing. Just so many good games. Even the Donkey Kong games were amazing. It's just an all-around awesome system. Banjo-Kazooie, all that shit. So, Mario Kart, obviously.
Yep.
Pretty much the ultimate party system of all time.
That's true. Yeah, it did have 4 plugs in it, didn't it?
Mm-hmm. For me, number 2 is old school. It wasn't the first console I owned, but it's the second, and which tells you how old I am. But the NES, Nintendo Entertainment System, that's my number 2. It kind of inspired my, I guess, love of gaming, and I think honestly, it's kind of the one that kicked everything off. I know Atari is kind of like the EverQuest, but NES is kind of the WoW. They took everything that the early consoles were doing and made it the way it should be, and it kind of set the foundation for everything else that came after. So, obviously the franchises, the Mario, the Zeldas. I still remember 5 years ago going to my grandma's house and playing RBI baseball, because they still had an NES from when they bought it for us when we were kids going over there. So, it's still got playability now even, so.
Do you remember in Duck Hunt trying to shoot the dog when he laughed at you?
Oh my god! Yes.
You're like, I hate you, dog.
Yeah, that's true too. That's the first system where I learned to game rage, and throw your controller. I remember I couldn't beat Ganon on the end of the first Zelda the longest time, and I launched a controller, and then I had to sit for a week and just stew about the fact that I didn't know what to do to kill him. But anyway.
Yeah, I think I threw my controller because of the beeping sound. The beep, 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 beep when you have one heart.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, you'd be going through the tunnel. Oh, dude, because I'm only 2 years younger than you are, so I totally feel your pain.
Yep.
So.
Yep, great system. So many games too. My God, I mean, I don't know how many games came out for that system, but it was insane amount.
I didn't know the League was 39.
39. All right, cool. Now we're on to number one. So, Lee, you get to do the honors. What's your number one?
My number one is the Super Nintendo. I cannot tell you how much games I had, how much time I played from any RPG. I mean, you had Chrono Trigger, my top game of all time, to Super Mario RPG, Killer Instinct. I can't I could go on, but I can't really list it all because there's so much that I played. I mean, I literally had my whole wall filled with little slot bookshelves. Remember the little towers they used to sell where you stick your, at least I had about 20 of those filled. So, I mean, that's definitely my system. I enjoyed every single minute of it. I actually have an emulator with all the games. I play a ton of time when I'm bored. But yeah, it's definitely holds. That's my childhood, and if games could ever reach that place again, maybe I'd start going to consoles instead of me buying a game for $70 and beating it in 2 days. So, yeah, definitely.
I like that little editorial at the end.
It's true though, right?
Hey,
I mean,
I'm with you.
$7 and beat it in 2 fucking days. It's so stupid.
Go ahead, Matt. What's your number one?
I'm going a completely different way I'm going the exact same way as Lee. The Super Nintendo, Super NES. You had the Zelda games. You had the greatest game of all time, Super Mario 64, The Legend of the Seven Stars. Greatest game of all time. You've got like he said, the Chrono Trigger, second greatest game of all time. There's this game called Secret of Evermore that my brother and I played for.
Secret of Mana was my favorite.
Forever. Secret of Evermore was the greatest.
Yep.
It was the solid system. It had the Power Glove. It had that bazooka. What other console has a bazooka?
Sight Scope.
Oh my god, that thing was amazing.
Yep, I always wanted one, but we couldn't afford it.
Same here.
We had the game for it, but we never had the bazooka, and we found a friend who had one, and we borrowed it, and the game was awful, but it was a bazooka. I mean, come on. No peripheral was better than a freaking bazooka.
Anybody remember Super Ghouls and Ghosts? Sorry. Do you remember that game, Super Ghouls and Ghosts?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you remember you couldn't really save to the end? I remember playing the last boss and the power went out and never touched it again. So.
I would have. Oh
yeah,
my goodness.
It sucked. So, alright. Sorry.
That was the worst. But no, I think Super Nintendo is the greatest console.
Very cool. I feel kind of stupid. That's 2 in a row. I don't even have it on my list, but I guess for some reason NES and N64 are more in my memory. I have a hard time remembering everything I played on Super NES. But go ahead, Shaq. What's your number one?
Oh man, my number one, PlayStation 2. Best system ever made. I remember opening that thing up, and the first game I got for was Final Fantasy X. And that locker room scene, when he's just in there, he's getting ready to play Blitzball.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, dude, this is a fucking movie.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
That changed my life on graphics forever.
Wait till you play Xenosaga. You want to play a movie.
Yeah, I agree. But PlayStation 2, it still was it was outselling PlayStation 3 3 years after the PlayStation 3 was released.
Yeah.
The system never died. They literally last year stopped making them because they were still selling them. So
yeah, for me also, I mean the GTA franchise is launched on PS2.
GTA.
So that's huge. Very cool. For me, my number one is N64. It's this console I've spent the most time with, I guess, just because of my age or something. But it was just that perfect time for me, and I spent 2 or 3 complete summers playing it 16 hours a day or something crazy. So whether it's Bond and Perfect Dark or Zelda, the freaking Zelda, my God, on 64 is so amazing.
Yeah.
One of the best games ever. Just a million little stupid games that people don't, like Forsaken. I love that game. I don't know, just for me, that's the one I have the most memories with. I guess it was just the time, but and like you said, I know I'm crazy, but I think Mario 64 is it's in my top 10 games of all time. I love that game. Mario Kart. Gotta love it. But, well guys, that's our number ones, and that's our top 5 consoles. Like I said, we'll be bringing you guys a lot more, console coverage this month, and then also BlizzCon. Those are going to be kind of the 2 big things that we're going to, be covering, and, we'll be back again next week, probably with the same crew, hopefully. So, thanks for stopping in, and if you get a chance, go ahead and like it, this video and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it.
Yep, and if you go watch Thor or Ender's Game, let us know how you thought of it in the comments. Catch you later.
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 Later.